Hi, this is Chris Bosch, and you're listening to Animal House Radio with Aaron and Dr. Mike.
So these dogs are pulling the whole team all the way.
Wow.
Yeah,
Amazing.
1,000 miles or 1,600 kilometers.
Wow, that's incredible. Well, there you go, folks. If you have any questions for Dr. Ron about his sled experience or any of us as veterinarians, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a call anytime at 416-785-0680. That's 416-785-0680. I think it's time for a break. What do you say? Why don't we go to break, and we'll be back in a sec on Animal House Radio. The Stones. There you go, Richmond. Well done. That's my kind of music. This part of the show is brought to you by ismydogoverweight.ca.
Hi, this is Chris Bosch, and this is tonight's top sign that your dog is overweight.
Tonight's top sign that your dog is overweight is when you take your dog to the veterinarian and you put him on the scale or her on the scale, and the scale says to be continued. That is the first sign that your dog is overweight. Thank you to www.ismydogoverweight.ca. Check them out. It's kind of a really cool website, especially if your dog is overweight. You can always reach us, by the way, aside from phone. You can email us at info@animalhouseradio.com, and it will literally come right to my BlackBerry. In fact, I just got an email from the master himself, Aaron Thomas, who just emailed saying, "You'll never talk again. I'm the king." Ha, ha, ha. Well, I'm glad you're listening in, buddy. I can't do it like you, but I'm trying. So let's move on. Now we're going to talk to Ron today about being a vet, what it's like. And I thought we would sort of go through the good, the bad, and maybe if we have time, some of the ugly. But we'll start off with the good for once. I thought it would be kind of cool for us to talk about what's funny, what kind of funny things have happened to you as a vet. So I'll let you go first. You want me to go first? Okay, I'll go first. It was 2 months after being in practice. I'll never forget. This is moons ago. And I had a lovely lady come in with her, I think it was 9-year-old son, full set of teeth, the whole 9 yards. And we're talking about her dog. And I see her son tugging on her shirt, and she kept shooing him away. And finally, I guess he had bugged her too much. And she said, okay. And there she goes, and she lifts her top right up, exposing everything. And he latches on for a little 10-second suckle, hops off. She puts her shirt down. I stood there absolutely mouth open, dumbfounded, didn't know what to do. Here I'm a new grad. I was so red, and yet she talked to me like it was like, so tell me what's wrong with my dog.
Oh, no.
Anyway, that was one of my funniest stories. I mean, I just graduated, so I was a little nervous, and man, that was funny for me.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you?
Like for me, one of the funny things about kind of being at the wrong place at the wrong time is doing your physical exam. You first start at the head, you check the teeth, you check the eyes, the ears, you listen to the heart, and you work your way back a little bit further and further. You check the abdomen, and then what's left? Just to check right below the tail. As I lifted up the tail, it just so happened that this dog had some flatulence.
Like at the perfect time.
The perfect time.
So what did you say? Or what did the dog say? No.
Well, you know what?
What did the owner say?
You know what? Nothing could be said because the owner was on the ground laughing herself. She couldn't believe it. So that broke the ice, and that was one of her.
No doubt. So is that at your new clinic?
Yes, that happened just roughly a year and a half ago. Yeah, probably one of the
good way to start, eh?
Exactly.
Wow. Well, I got another good one. This was kind of a neat story. You know, we as vets, sometimes we get a little ahead of ourselves, and we just assume, just like anybody who's in a profession, you kind of sometimes assume that people know more than they obviously know. So I had a gentleman who brought his dog in, and he looked really worried, and so I tried to console him because he was really scared. And he said, you know, doctor, I think my dog has a tumor. So I said, okay, where is it? Let's look. And so he rolls the dog over onto his belly, and I look down, and it was the dog's nipple. So I said to the guy, that's his nipple. And he looked at me dumbfounded and said, but it's a male dog. And so I didn't know what to say. I looked at him. I said, well, I'm a male, trying to sort of say, guess what I have. And then he looked at, so I thought, okay, he'll get it after I said that. He looked at me and said, so is it a problem, or is this going to go away? And I thought, oh my Lord. So, you go in and you think that, people know certain things, but some people just don't.
That is true.
Have you had any situations like that where you explain something that you think is pretty normal or easy,
Yes.
and they just don't get it.
Yes. One time I had roughly a 65 or a 70-year-old lady who came in very concerned that there was this bulge between her dog's leg. But what happened was this dog was neutered, and she didn't understand that a neutered male dog can still get actually a large bulge due to the bubble urethral gland. So I had to explain what an erection was on a male dog.
To an older woman.
Very old, yes.
Oh boy, yeah, these are priceless. Another good one. Hills has this wonderful food called AD, and it's a little can of food that you can feed to dogs and cats. It's a pate, and it's designed so that you can suck it up into a syringe. If you have a very ill dog or cat that's frail, it's got so many calories that you don't really have to feed a lot, and you can syringe feed it through a feeding tube. Well, I got a call from a lady one day, and her senile father had gone into the fridge, opened the can, ate the whole thing, and told her it was the best pate he'd ever tried. So she needed to get some more for her ailing dog because her father, who was also ailing mentally, had eaten the whole can, thought it was great. So that's one of my interesting eat dog food stories. Yeah.
So far, I don't think I've thought about all the funny stories, but there's lots out there.
Now, let's go on and move to another topic that, vets... I think that people don't realize that we, at least you and I know we've talked about it. We really do love animals, and I get a real thrill out of, an animal comes in really sick, and boom, they walk out of there wagging their tail, and they're really happy. And owners just, to see the owners' faces when their dog comes out, and they saw them going in, and then they come out, and they're thrilled. It's just, that to me is thrill of the day. Right. So, talking about the success stories that you and I have sort of come across, where you just walked out and went, oh, that was a great day. Right. I know one thing that both of us can agree on is that there's a condition called a pyometra. A lot of people don't spay their animals, and one of the negatives to that is dogs very easily can get these uterine infections, right? And they get these big uteruses filled with pus. And I'm going to tell you, although that sounds gross, they can die from this. I mean, they get that toxic. And so these dogs often come in, you've probably seen them, they're literally collapsed. Yes. And these owners are concerned, and we diagnose that this dog has a pyometra, and of course we tell them the best way to fix it is take them to surgery. Right. And what happens, right? You go and you do surgery, which is, for us, just a big spay. Big spay. And it usually takes a little bit longer just to make sure you tie everything off, and from there... But they just do so amazing afterwards, don't they? I mean, they literally, 2 days later, they run out of the hospital. It's just that's one of those, you literally have saved the dog's life. For us... we do it all the time, so it seems easy to us, but it really, inherently, I remember the first one I did, oh my Lord, it took me, 2 or 3 hours, but now I can polish them off in no time. But it is something that I don't think people realize that it's a difficult procedure, and yet we literally can take a dog from one stage to the other, or fixing a broken leg, stuff like that. I mean, it's really nice. So... one of the big things that I was kind of proud of, I had this dog who was hit by a car, a little Shih Tzu. I'll never forget this dog. This is about 9 or 10 years ago, and he was really ill. And he came in, and his abdomen was just massive. So we ended up taking a picture of him, an X-ray, and all of his intestines were just underneath his skin. Wow. And what he had was a double hernia in his inguinal region. Huge hernia. I mean, you could put your hand in there. Wow. So I went in there and I stitched up this dog's hernia on both sides. And of course, when you stitch up a hernia, you have to leave a little room for the blood vessels that go to the testicular artery and vein. And there's some vessels you can't close it completely, otherwise it's going to be bad news. It'll lose circulation to the back leg. So did that and sort of left just enough for the blood vessels to go through. Woke the dog up. Dog did famously. Double hernia repair took me a long time because every time you're stitching up, the intestines are kind of going against you. Exactly. Yep. But it was, to me, that was one of my thrills, one of the ones I remembered. This dog was a sweet dog, and there he was, in agony because his intestines were popping out, and I put them all back together, and he was such a, woke up from surgery, licked my face. You just, it's almost moments where you get teary-eyed. You're just so thrilled that you've saved this dog's life. Right. How about you? Any big...
like for me, I like doing the C-sections. I find that most rewarding because what happens with the C-sections, you get in there, you bring the puppies out, everyone's all excited to see the new little puppies. Probably the best thing is watching them suckle for the first time, where the mom is still fairly sedated. She's still lying on her back, and from there the puppies are just so hungry. They're just wanting to latch on and get some milk. Right. So that's a good feeling, just seeing that you brought some puppies or kittens into the world. Yes. Yeah.